I'm already a millionaire in my mind. I don't see it yet, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I'm accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I'm meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. My name is Julian Gordon, and I'm author of Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. After becoming a multimillionaire through real estate investing, I was moved by God at the beginning of the pandemic to share my money mindset that allowed me to quit my job in January of 2009 at the bottom of the last recession and achieve full financial freedom. I own my mental real estate before I own any physical real estate. This book is like some of your favorites: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, and the Bible all in one. But the divine downloads and thoughts that are in here are 100% original and came for a 6-month period at the beginning of the pandemic. This book is normally $100 on Amazon if you went there right now, but I want to give you access to it for free by inviting you to our next reading group. Yes, the reading group is 100% free. Every weekday for 100 days straight, I'll be reading and discussing the 10 money commandments in the book that make money come to you in your life easily, more frequently, and abundantly. And it will take about 30 to 45 minutes as we read 3 to 5 pages per day until we finish the book and reprogram your mind around money. Why 100 days? Well, if you are 30 years old, you've lived for 10,950 days. And we have to deprogram and reprogram the negative, scarcity-based money mindset society has taught you. And I believe I can do that in just 1% of the time in about 100 days. I'm done with shelf help. You know, when you buy a book to change your life, but you never read it, it just sits on your bookshelf and collects a whole bunch of dust. We off that. When is the last time you had an author actually read their book to you out loud because they cared about you getting the information in your soul? I'm not just here to get this book in your hands. More importantly, I want to get it in your head and your heart, because that's where the real transformation occurs, in the conscious and the subconscious mind. As scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not the type of book that you just read once. To renew the subconscious mind requires repetition over and over and over. So if you joined us last time, I encourage you to join us again. I myself have read this book over 10 times already. So click the link to join our next reading group, and when you sign up, I'm going to give you the first 2 chapters of the book for absolutely free on what is money and abundance is your birthright, so that you can start your journey to a more abundant life today.
What's good, everybody? This is your boy Fabian coming back at you with another reading of The Rich and Righteous. We're on day 34. If you're new, this is the 100-day challenge of the reading of The Rich and Righteous. We have been doing this thing for 33 days now, and this is day number 34. For my return readers, glad to have you back. Love to see your discipline, commitment, drive, and tenacity towards getting through this challenge. Yesterday, we started our new section, the 6 forms of capital. This section is pretty lengthy, so we divided it up into a couple of days. Yesterday, we was only able to get through number 1, which was your personal capital. Today, we're starting with number 2, your intellectual capital. Wealth is not handed to you directly. Wealth is handed to you through you. And we gave the example of Noah. God did not give Noah an ark. God gave Noah trees and faith. And with those materials, internal and external materials. Internal was the faith, external material was the trees. And then through Noah, the ark was created. But let's go ahead and get started with day 34. Just remember, at the end of the reading, we always give our takeaways. I need y'all takeaways in the comment section of the post so other people can read those and see what you got out of the reading, so they can in turn try to get something out of the reading. They may have got something out of the reading that you didn't, but they read what you wrote, and then they go back and review it and they say, oh, I see now. I get that. I like that. That way we can help each other grow. That's the purpose of this challenge here. But day 34, our next form of capital is going to be intellectual capital. Let's pay attention. Julian is going to go ahead and kick us off with the reading.
So we're going to move on to the second form of capital now. We're moving on to the second form of capital now, intellectual capital, right? What you know. So personal capital is how well you know yourself. Intellectual capital is what you know. Intellectual capital is what you know. This includes your expertise in one or two subjects or skills. When you walk into any room, what subject would you feel comfortable speaking on in front of anyone for an hour? You don't even have to know who's in the room, but just because of your past experience, this subject is the thing that I could speak about best for an hour. Or what skill can you do well and replicate success more than the average person? Even if you went to college and graduated with a major and minor, doesn't mean that you have any intellectual capital. That is the deception. I don't care about your degree. Many people graduate, right? Many people graduate, and if you stop them on stage, right? And in fact, that's what I was saying. For most people, their major didn't matter. If you stop college graduates on stage at graduation and ask them to lecture for 1 hour on what their diploma says they majored in, most couldn't do it, which means that they have no intellectual capital. Some of you just went to college just to get the degree, just to get the diploma, not to get the information, not to master anything. Ain't got a lot to kick it, I know. You did what you did to pass the test. You crammed for exams, and once you left the exam room, what happened to the information? Poof, be gone, right? You didn't really go there to master anything. You went there to pass the class so that you could get the 10-cent diploma, right? You got the expensive 6-figure piece of paper, but have nothing to really show for it, but some pictures and some memories, some parties, but no real intellectual capital over a 4-year period or whatever your master's program was. No real intellectual capital. That's not the college's fault, family. That's not the college's fault. That was on you, not putting in the work. Now, granted, let's say you didn't want to master what your major was. That's fine. But in your other time available, because you only had about 12 to 14 hours of class per week, what did you choose to learn? College was a rare space and time where you had control over your schedule. You weren't in class 40 hours a week. Yes, you had class and assignments, but what else were you learning? What did you choose to learn if there was no major on campus that aligned with who you wanted to be and what you wanted to learn? Right? That was a valuable time that many of us wasted, but it's okay. It's in the past now. That was liberal arts education. You got through it. You got the degree. Now we're focused on liberation arts education, which is what's going to free us, right? Liberal arts education will cost you. Liberation arts education will free you. Page 250, second paragraph. As professionals, we start to develop skills related to our jobs, but the risk is getting great at what you hate. Listen to that. As professionals, we start to develop skills related to our jobs, but the risk of that is getting great at what you hate. Here's why. When you get great at something you hate, you attract more of it. When we talk about what money is attracted to, it's attracted to greatness. And you, over time, have gotten great at something that you hate. And so, because you're great at it, people now know you for it. And now more of what you hate comes to you because you got great at it. They say if you want something done, give it to a busy person, right? Instead, you might as well focus on getting great at what you want to be great at. That's the alternative. Get great at what you want to be great at. Money is attracted to greatness, period. So where are you seeking greatness and excellence in your life? Can't just use hashtag Black excellence, etc., and you not actually be pursuing excellence in any area of your life. The time commitment will be equal. I'm sure you've heard of the 10,000 hour rule in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. It takes approximately 10,000 hours to truly master something. Mastery doesn't come passively. It is deliberate. You have to be intentional about any skill or subject you want to master. The beautiful thing about seeking mastery is that not only do you master the skill of the subject, you also master the process of mastery, and you master yourself along the way. So you master the subject, you master the process of mastery, and you master yourself along the way. What do I say? Be God to yourself. Love yourself as God loves you. You master over yourself in the way that God has mastered over you, right? So we're seeking self-mastery. And so you can actually get to self-mastery by seeking to master something. You start to understand how mastery actually works, and you can apply that to other areas of your life. This is why you see some people who know multiple languages. They mastered one language, right? And then they were able to take that process of learning that language and apply it to another one and another one and another one. I think it's called a polyglot, right? Somebody who knows multiple languages. Then you see people who know multiple instruments. They took the mastery of one instrument, the piano, the clarinet, the flute, etc., and then they applied that to mastering the next instrument and the next instrument, and it got easier and easier and easier. Not because they just mastered the piano, but because they also mastered the process of mastering an instrument, which then made learning more instruments easier. Because there's a lot of overlap in the understanding of how these melodies and how these instruments work, okay? And how music works in general, and then how they work. So everybody type this: money follows mastery. Money follows mastery. But people want the interest without making the investment. Financially, interest is the money you get as a result of an investment. Interest attracts you, but you can only get it through making the investment of money and committing to mastery. So money follows mastery, but people want interest without making the investment. So some of you want to be paid abundantly, right? But you're not making the investment in mastering anything. Financially, interest is the money you get as a result of an investment. You want interest without making an investment. Interest attracts you, right? It attracts you. The interest you have in making money, the interest you have in this particular field of work, etc., it attracts you. But you can only get it through making an investment of money and committing to mastery. You can't have interest without investment. You cannot have interest without investment. Okay? So if a guy is interested in you, he's not making an investment, guess what? Deuces. If a woman is interested in you and she's not making any investments, guess what? Deuces. You can't get interest from me. You can't get a return on something you did not invest anything in. Okay, it's two ways. The two-way street. You can't want $1 million out when you haven't put 10,000 hours in. You cannot want $1 million out when you have not put 10,000 hours in. You reap what you what? You reap what you want? Does it say you reap what you want, y'all? Is that what the scripture says? You reap what you want? No, it says you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. If you haven't discovered what interests you, I found that anything that you are heavily invested in will become interesting. So you have to invest in something in order to find interest. Don't wait passively for an interest to find you. Invest until you find something interesting. So keep trying, okay? List out the things that you're interested in. Start at number one. Go hard. Say, I'm going to commit to this for 30 days and I'm going to see how far it goes. If you fall off after 3 days, and guess what? You weren't that interested in it. That might have been a program that other people put in you. Like society was saying you should be interested in this, right? You should be interested in AI, right? And so you do a deep dive in AI and you commit to 30 days. And if you fall off for 3 days, and guess what? That's not really your interest. Yeah, it may be a hot topic now, but it wasn't really your interest. So then you cross that out, go to the next thing, right? Okay. I'm interested in financial spirituality. Okay, you do a deep dive. You're doing a deep dive with me. Many of you are beyond 30 days. This is something that's really interesting you, right? And so I want you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Are you understanding? I'm interested in Black families staying together, right? Do a deep dive. Get all the books, right? Watch all the videos, etc. And if you fall off after 3 days, then you weren't that interested in it. Cross it off. No judgment. Keep going until you find what you're truly interested in. Is this making sense? So don't wait passively for interest. Oh, I don't know what I'm interested in. Okay. How are you actively going and finding that thing? Because that finding out what you're interested in is actually what's going to lead to more financial interest in your life, return on investment in your life. All right. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how to discover your passion using the passion finder. Actually, we're going to do that tomorrow. All right. And I have a deeper exercise that I guide people through. In fact, I may actually do the passion finder at the graduation because that's a deeper exercise. Tomorrow I'm going to read about it, but the actual process of doing it, I may do that as a workshop at RR graduation. All right. So go to rrgraduation.com. So that event is going to be, it's going to be testimonies, right? Testimonies, right? Where people are sharing. That's what the initial intention was. I'm going to teach a little bit, right? I think it may be the passion finder, because I really need you to know what your passion is. And then, of course, we have to find a problem that we're passionate about solving. But we also need to get clear on our skill set, and book signing and all of that. So I'm probably going to teach the passion finder. I think that would be really, really good for you all to identify your most high offer and the skill set, the passion that you want to turn into actual skill. How many of you would be interested in that? I'm going to do a short teaching and workshop at our graduation. So we're going to read the final chapter of the book. I'll do a teaching. We'll get to testimonies. Then we'll do a book signing and go from there. All right. So that the agenda is going to be something like that. All right. Cool. So we're on the top of page 251. We have about 1 page left for the day. Below is the skills value matrix. This is a divine download that came to me, right? And if you don't have the book, let me show it to you. It's the skills values matrix, all right? It will help you identify where all of your skills fit in terms of the value ladder. The vertical spectrum measures how easy or how hard a skill is to master. The horizontal spectrum measures how many people have the skill. I've only found that one skill that many people have that is also difficult to do, and that is giving birth, okay? I've only found one skill that is difficult to do, but many people have done, and that is giving birth. Unfortunately, you don't get paid for that unless you are giving birth to other people's children as a surrogate mom for $25,000 or more, okay? So you can get paid for that, but unfortunately, most people don't. You have skills, but most of them are likely in the lower half of the matrix, meaning that you will not be able to capture a ton of value for them. It's competitive and cutthroat below that line. It is the basic economics of supply and demand. The more people that can do something increases the supply, and without the demand changing, the lower the price or value of that skill will be. All right. So, for example, in the lower left-hand corner, we have lots of people can do it. It's very easy. So many of you on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. You're on social media, navigating social media. It's a skill, right? It is an actual skill, but it's relatively easy, and a lot of people can do it, right? So you can't get paid for just navigating social media. Now, if we go to the lower right-hand corner, which is skills that very few people can do, but that are still relatively very easy, let's run a social media ad. It does not take you long to learn how to run an ad. Now, learning how to run a profitable ad, that's more difficult. But anybody can go learn how to put up an advertisement on social media, okay? Not that hard. Maybe an hour to 2 hours on YouTube, following instructions, you can get an ad running, okay? Now, upper right-hand corner, which is where we want to be, above the line, which is very few people can do this, and it's very difficult. So that means the learning curve is a lot longer, right? That is growing and monetizing a $100,000 social media page. Not many people can do that. So guess what? Which of these skills is most valuable? It's the one in the upper right. Somebody who knows how to grow and monetize a $100,000 page, whether they're selling products through drop shipping, or they're selling coaching services, whether they're selling a book, etc. That is an example of growing and monetizing a page. It's more valuable than just learning how to run social media ad or campaign or manage a social media account, right? And it's way more valuable than just anybody being able to navigate social media. Now, navigating social media could be valuable perhaps to an elder who wants to be connected to their old friends, right? Or their grandchildren and be able to follow them. Learning that skill set could be valuable to that person, but it's not going to be extremely valuable. Is this making sense? This is making sense. Okay? So that's the skills value matrix. Actually, I just walked through it. I walked through this paragraph just now, but I'll read it just so we can conclude out. But let's say you love social media. Most people think social media is a waste of time from a monetary standpoint, but it can be extremely valuable when viewed from the proper perspective. Navigating social media would be in the lower left. Many people can do that, and it's easy. Setting up a social ad would be in the lower right. Many people don't know how to do this though it is relatively easy. It takes some learning. You can learn how to get an ad up and running in a couple of hours by watching videos on YouTube. It may not be a great ad, but the basics can be learned relatively quickly. Growing a following or fan page or group from 0 to 100,000 followers or more would be in the upper right. That takes real skill, and it takes time to learn that skill. That's why social media marketing managers can get paid over $100,000 per year. And an even greater skill than that is knowing how to monetize that social media following to create a sustainable online business. There's nothing wrong with loving social media and being on it often. The question is, do you know how to solve difficult problems for others in the environment of social media? Okay. Do you know how to solve difficult problems for others in the environment of social media? Okay. So I use social media because I know that's where many of us have found each other. That's how you found me. Many of us spend time there. And most people, probably 98% of people, don't make money off the time that they spend on social media because they don't have a skill set that is valuable in that environment. But there are skill sets that are valuable in that environment, and there are people who are paid abundantly as a result of that. So it does not matter what you love. It's really about finding the skill set, right, that solves difficult problems for other people in that environment, and then that allows you to play in that environment like you've been playing. You've been spending, if we added up how many hours you spend on social media in your life and how much you got paid, that's a low return on investment. So I'm just showing you that these things, some things are not waste of time. They're waste of time for most people, but not all people. Whatever you are passionate about or interested in, I encourage you to map out the entire economy around that passion by listing all the skills or actions related to it so that you can see all the ways that people get paid in that industry. This exercise is called the Passion Finder. Let's take fashion, for example. The skill sets around this passion include modeling fashion, photographing fashion, buying fashion, marketing fashion, designing fashion, teaching fashion, selling fashion, and distributing fashion. And there's probably many more. And then we can get more specific by adding the type of fashion one specializes in, such as photographing jewelry, designing winter clothes, marketing suits, or selling watches. Every action listed has a job associated with it. And so it's really important that when you're thinking about your passion, you think about it in the present subjunctive, meaning that you think about it as an action verb with an ing, right? So all of these actions I said, photographing fashion, modeling fashion, buying fashion, you want to think about it as an action, because with every action within an industry, there's a job associated with it, all right? Some of you have been so laser focused on your job that you actually don't understand your entire industry in depth. How did that thing get from here to there? Who did that, right? How did this happen? Who built that? Why do we pay them? Who are they? What do they do? How do they contribute, how do they contribute to the larger vision? Okay, so this is really an exercise for you to understand the economy around the industry that you may be in, if that's where you intend to stay. And so the way we map that out on the Passion Finder is that there's action verbs over here. Then fashion is the interest that is in the middle. And we talked about interest yesterday. And then we have descriptors that actually help you find your niche within that industry, right? So modeling pants, and you can cross-reference these. So modeling pants, photographing pants, buying pants, marketing pants, designing pants, teaching pant making, selling pants, distributing pants. There's people who do all of those actions, but then guess what? You can change it. Modeling jewelry, photographing jewelry, buying jewelry, marketing jewelry, right? So you can literally take these verbs and go either which way in the Passion Finder, all right? So every action listed has a job associated with it. From this laundry list of skills, you can now choose one or two you are going to master and find employment or entrepreneurial opportunities that will allow you to monetize that skill set. So in chat, I want you to type in what interest word would you put in the middle of your Passion Finder? What interest word, what industry, topic, subject would you put in the middle, right? Is it sports? Is it fashion? Is it health? Is it education? Is it technology? Right? Is it Black people? Is it children? Is it health? Right? What would be in the middle for you? What would be in the middle for you? And then from there, you map out all the actions in that industry and all the niches or descriptors in that industry. And then from there, you identify one or two that you want to seek to master. So remember, mastery is intentional and money follows mastery. So we need to be intentional about what we're mastering. You don't just stumble into mastery. You have to intentionally commit to being a master of something. When you think of the skills you have already mastered, think of them as an action word ending with ing, such as building teams, marketing products, analyzing data, telling stories, simplifying complex ideas, crunching numbers, or presenting in front of groups. If you choose a subject mastery, get very specific about the subject. Don't just say that I'm mastering business. Get more granular in a specific business component, such as operations, marketing products, marketing services, subscription-based business models, finance, human resources, leadership development, product development, food services, or customer service. It makes it easier for you to focus when you see your progress. It makes it easier for you to focus and see your progress when you are specific. When you get specific, you may feel like your focus is getting too narrow, but that is exactly what focus is. If you want to master money, money has many offshoots, from cash to stocks to bonds to cryptocurrency to precious metals to Forex. And within each of those offshoots, the rabbit hole runs even deeper. You also find that what seemed like a small niche from the outside looking in is actually an entire world within itself for you to explore and master. As my friend Ash Cash always says, the riches are in the niches. Your most high income skill comes from the Most High. Your most high income skill comes from the Most High. However, you have the discipline to develop it, hence the word disciple. Do not bury your talents. Okay? So your most high income skill comes from the Most High. It's already given to you. Now it's up to you to be disciplined, right? To develop it like a disciple. And please do not bury the talents that were given unto you. We are encouraged, to be jacks of all trades by the education system. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday. They want you to get an A in everything. The A stands for average. The A stands for average. Yes, it may be the first letter in the alphabet. It may look like the highest grade, but it actually stands for average. Everybody type that. A stands for average. Because this is what they were telling you to do. Get A's in every subject. If you come home with 5 A's and 1 F, most people will tell you to focus on your area of weakness. But while you focus your attention on your area of weakness, what happens to the things that you were good at? What tends to happen is that your areas of weakness improves, but the things you were good at worsen. So you come home with 5 A's, you get 1 F, and then everybody's mad at you for this F. Why'd you get an F, this and that? Now you're going to get a tutor and this and that. You're going to spend more time here. You're going to go to after school program for this. So now you built up this F, which was really hard because that's your area of weakness. For whatever reason, science didn't catch for you. Math didn't catch for you. English didn't catch for you, whatever it is. So you spent all this effort and energy trying to elevate this one single grade, right? And while you're doing that, you stop focusing on these other things that you were good at. And this is how you end up average. This is why A stands for average, family. Okay? You have to navigate your weaknesses, right? But you don't have to turn them into strengths. This is the formula for being average. Your value in life will not be determined by showing the world that you can do what everyone else can do. Your value in the world will not be determined by showing the world that you can do everything everyone else can do. Your highest value will be in the one skill that you can do that nobody else can do. And yesterday I gave you the example of Caesar from Planet of the Apes. He had the skill of speaking English. Therefore, that made him valuable because there's only 2 apes that could speak English, right? So we don't want to be in this monkey see, monkey do paradigm like the education system teaches us. Think about the 1 or 2 skills you would bank the next decade of your career on. What skills do you have or do you think will be extremely valuable in the near future? And what can you do to improve your mastery of them right now? So is AI affecting your industry? How do you look at healthcare and artificial intelligence? And how can you be the thought leader in that particular area, right? What's coming down the road for those of you who are teachers? What's coming down the road in terms of education? What's going to be the greatest skill set? Is it going to be getting kids' attention? Getting and keeping kids' attention? And how can you go train teachers all over the country how to be more engaging in the classroom, right? Or what kind of online training can you teach for that? What kind of methodology or framework can you teach for that? So you're not just teaching kids now, you're actually teaching teachers who teach kids, and therefore you've actually multiplied your impact because the kids are distracted. Kids are suffering from ADHD, right? So you see how you have to look down the road and say, what skill is going to be most valuable 3, 5, or even 10 years from now? And how can I start developing the mastery of that skill right now so that I can benefit from the riches that come from that skill in the future, right? I know some of you are like, oh, Julian, I just need to make money right now. But your skills haven't changed. So you can't just make money. You can't just get something for nothing. Nothing in you has changed, so you can't make any more change than you're already making. Is this making sense? So people say, follow your passion and the money will follow. But a better path to create wealth is to find a problem you are passionate about solving. Master the skill needed to solve that problem, and then the money will follow, okay? So, again, find a problem. You hear the language pattern. Find a problem you are passionate about solving, not just looking for your passion. Now, there are some passions that just straight monetization. So, Pez dispensers, Beanie Baby, Comic-Con, right? There's comic lovers. That's just pure passion. It's not really solving a problem, but there's people who are just passionate about it and have built community around it, built events around it, etc. But in most cases, I would say in 70, 80% of cases, you need to find a problem that you are passionate about solving, okay? Then you have to develop the skill sets to actually solve the problem, right? And then from there, the money will follow. Knowing what makes you great allows you to strengthen your uniqueness. Knowing where you have gaps or deficiencies allows you to know when to ask for help and who to surround yourself with. So you don't have to be a straight A student as an adult. You have to identify what your zone of genius is. And anytime you're about to step out of that zone of genius into a red alert area, that's where you need to ask for help or hire support, right? Or pay for support. Stay in your zone of genius. There's so many other geniuses out here. You don't have to figure it out. And there's no way that you could understand this issue in the way that they see it because they spend their entire life looking at that, right? So you think that you're just going to watch some YouTube videos and be able to understand this area in the way that somebody who's been doing it for 10, 20 years understands it? No. You might get a high level, and that may give you some perspective, but you won't understand the nuances. And it's the nuances that actually make the true difference in success. We say that heaven is in the details, right? And your eyes have not been trained to see the details of that. You may think that building a house is just put up some 2x4s, put up some wall, this and that. But somebody who's been building houses for years and even decades understand all the nuances that go into actually building a house. But because you're new to it, you can only see so much. They see the unseen. They see the unseen. And so stay in your zone of genius. Knowing where you have gaps or deficiencies allows you to know when to ask for help and who to surround yourself with. The world's most successful people aren't great at everything. They've identified 1 or 2 skills and mastered them. They know that the upper right-hand box in the skills value matrix, as we talked about yesterday, is where their highest value is, and they automate, outsource, and delegate everything else. It's impossible to be great at everything, and it's better to be great at 1 or 2 things than to be good at a lot of things. Specialists tend to get paid more than generalists.
All right, we're going to go ahead and stop it there. This will conclude day 34. Day 34 is officially in the books. Once again, we're going over the 6 forms of capital. The first form of capital yesterday, which was personal capital. And today we got through intellectual capital, number 2 of the 6, intellectual capital. What are your takeaways? Make sure you document those takeaways in the comment section of the YouTube post. It doesn't have to be the comment section during the live. You know, after the video is over, there's a section to comment on the post for the takeaways. Intellectual capital, man. Basically, what are you good at? You know, what are some things internally that you're good at? Money follows mastery. So you have to be a master of something, and then you can capitalize on that mastery. People will pay you for what you're good at. Something that they don't want to do, but you're good at it, you can do it great and in a reasonable amount of time because you've mastered the skill. What are you good at? This concludes day 34, man. Make sure we get those takeaways. If you're new and you don't have the book, we have a link in the description section of the post. Definitely click on that link and get your book, man. We are making phenomenal moves right now, more than halfway through the book. We have been reading, we have been disciplined. So go ahead and click that link, man. Get your book. Even after this challenge is over, this book is still going to be valuable to you. Day 34 is officially in the books. We'll go ahead and continue our 6 forms of capital tomorrow on the next day reading, and see y'all on the next reading. Salute.